The RM3A software is designed to be intuitive throughout the patient assessment. Upon starting the assessment, the software will guide the technician and patient through each step. To begin, please follow these steps. Number 1. Have the patient relax, not speak during the assessment, and not move the oximeter throughout the test. Number 2. Turn on the oximeter. Phase 1. Calibration. The calibration portion of this test is used to ensure all devices and parameters are set up correctly by checking the following: pulse wave and skin conductance, oxygen saturation, and pulse rate. You are able to change the settings if needed by clicking on the corresponding box, or you can begin the test by clicking on the OK button. If a pop-up box appears explaining the blood pressure setup, click OK or close the box. Click OK for the calibration to begin. During this portion of the test, the oxygen levels are being measured along with the pulse rate. As instructed by the software, obtain a blood pressure measurement. The data is entered into the appropriate spaces in the pop-up box. Then, click OK. Phase 2. Baseline recording. The baseline recording measures the heart function, electrochemical reaction response to pseudomotor function, and other important indices. Once this portion of the assessment is complete, the foot plates are no longer necessary and need to be moved to the side so the patient can stand later in the test. Phase 3. The Valsalva maneuver. During this part of the test, and as instructed by the software, have the patient take a deep breath and hold it for 15 seconds. When performing this task, their mouth must be closed while they pinch their nose shut with their left hand. During the 15 seconds, they must use forceful pressure, as if they were blowing up a balloon, but not exhaling. When the patient is ready to hold their breath, click the Start button. Have the patient watch the seconds timer on the laptop to know when to exhale. Note that the testing still continues to gather data even after the 15 seconds. The Valsalva maneuver triggers an increase in the heart rate and a falling systolic pressure. Sympathetic and parasympathetic regulations are assessed. Phase 4. Deep breathing. At this time, instruct the patient to slowly inhale for 5 seconds and slowly exhale for 5 seconds. This is repeated 3 times for a total of 30 seconds. Patient should breathe continuously and regularly. Have the patient use the seconds timer from the software on the laptop. Click the Start button when the patient is ready to start this part of the test. Parasympathetic regulation of the heart rate is recorded during deep breathing. Phase 5. Standing. During this part of the assessment, the patient will stand up. When the patient is ready for this procedure, start the blood pressure machine, and then click the Start button in the software as the patient begins to stand. Enter the blood pressure readings in the spaces provided and click OK. Have the patient sit down. The standing procedure triggers an increase in the heart rate and blood pressure. Once the assessment is finished, the risk analysis results are automatically displayed on the screen to be analyzed or printed. In this training, we will not cover how to read a report. That training is given to the physician. However, there are some added features within the software that a physician will not see in a printed report. You will need to be aware of these additional measurements and provide them to the provider as requested. For example, in most cases, when you place the mouse cursor over certain areas, you'll notice that the software tells you what that particular area means. When you click on any one of the 8 risk factor bars, the report will drill down to the additional information. There are also additional buttons for drilling down as well if necessary. Note that all of the information being shown is also in a printed full physician's report with supplemental pages. On the Endo-D screen, there's an additional visual that can be pulled if the physician wants to show the patient their arterial status. This is done by clicking on the PTG patterns. This reference chart can also be found on the desktop of the laptop computer under Office Materials. Finally, on the main dashboard board screen, there's a 3-dimensional picture of the organs. If If you hold down the left pad button while moving the cursor on the mouse pad at the same time, the model can be turned. Notice the different colors on the organs. If the physician wants more detail on a specific colored organ, for example the heart, they can click on this drop-down arrow and highlight a specific organ they want to see.